Tottenham versus Dortmund, which we're very, very excited about. But I want to open the show up as well because there is some trending news. It's trendy. We've got some trending news about Declan Rice, who is the West Ham young midfielder who has released a statement today saying that despite his sort of dual heritage in relation to English background and Irish background, and I think he has played... well, I'll take your comments on this. I mean, I'm sure we'll have some Irish people in there because I want to get their thoughts on it as well. Basically, he's chosen to play for England over Ireland, despite having played for, I believe, Ireland at maybe youth level or maybe even reserves. I don't know. But yeah, very, very interesting. I want to get your thoughts on that. Well, also, obviously, we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss and watch along Spurs and Dortmund, which I think is going to be a great game for the neutral. Of which I am one. So looking forward to that as well. Just want to run down the team news for you and then we'll get into this Declan Rice thing because we've still got about 18 minutes till kickoff. So nice to have a little bit of a chat and debate on That's Football. So make sure you subscribe if you're new. Link in the video description and smash a like button. But the team news for you, if I can just get it, wherever it is Lloris in goal, Aurier, Davinson Sanchez, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Foyth, Sissoko, Winks, Eriksson, Son and Mora, which I think is quite an exciting dynamic team from Spurs. I think Llorente slows them down. I'm quite glad to see Lucas Moura coming into the team because he didn't play at the weekend. So I like the speed that they've got up front with Son and Lucas Moura. So I'm pretty excited by Spurs lineup. Dortmund, Berkey, Hakimi, Toprak, Zagadou, Diallo, Witsel, Delaney, Sancho, Dahoud, Pulisic and Mario Götze. So yeah, Mark Goldbridge is injured. I'm not too sure where that striker is that they've got. Is it Alcácer? Don't know where he is. Maybe he's injured as well. Delaney, isn't he the one who plays for Switzerland or something like that, but it's got a very Irish name? And Akanji not there as well, so he must be injured as well. But I don't follow. I've got to put my hands up. I do follow Italian football. I follow La Liga a little bit. I don't follow German football, even though I probably should do, because but Dortmund are 7 points clear at the top at the moment, so it is a little bit interesting. But yeah, let's take some of your comments. Sancho's playing anyway. That's what we're here for. Realistically, whether he'll come to United or not, I don't know. But I think it's exciting, even if it's just from an English point of view. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Looking forward to that. Just say night to flex then. But Sancho to United, says Ghost H. Born and raised in London, says Kieran Brook. Yeah, I'll tell you who I didn't agree with. Gary Lineker again. I mean, Gary Lineker, I was one of my idols growing up, and I do like him, but he's such a hypocrite because he tweets things like, you know, when Emiliano Sala's plane went down, Ronaldo did a tweet the same day of himself in a plane. Clearly not goading what had happened. It was just unfortunate. And Gary Lineker goes, oh, bad timing. You get Declan Rice, and it doesn't compare at all in any way to the Salah incident. I'm not saying that, but what I'm more talking about the characteristics of Gary Lineker, who will jump on anybody who makes a mistake, but or who he perceives to be inappropriate. But then Declan Rice puts out this well-constructed letter explaining, you know, it was well-constructed. And Gary Lineker tweets out, he's one of our own, Declan Rice is one of our own. Now, it's obviously a joke, but it doesn't probably make Declan Rice's situation any better because, it's sort of like, oh, yeah, he's one of us and he's chosen us over them. And you know what? I'm not one of these people, but there will be a lot of Irish people who are pissed off about it. And I'm not Irish, but I lived in Ireland for 4 years. And there will be some people who are pissed off. And it won't be nice that he's going to play for England. So I just think the goading of it's just a little bit... I think it's a little bit twattish, to be honest, to be goading them when he's not even played a game for England. He might not ever play a game for England. So what you're actually gloating about is that a player is chosen to play for England over Ireland, which actually does make it about nationality, which actually would piss me off if it was Irish. So, look, that's my thoughts on it. Mark Willis has corrected me. Dortmund are 5 points clear at the moment. Delaney is a Danish international, not Swiss, says George Cronis. I nearly said the same thing, but that would be very disrespectful to the Dutch and the Swiss, who are very, very different. One does bacon, one does chocolate. I'm joking, people. You've got to stick with me and understand what I'm like. Trust me, you'll love it. Why doesn't Ollie play Chong, Greenwood or Angel Gomez? Stick to the United stand for that. Tom Brown, I don't really know what Declan Rice's political background is, and that's not what we're talking about here. Well, who would you rather? Who would you have taken Pulisic before? Would you have taken Pulisic before he joined Chelsea? Says Jack Barlow. I do like Pulisic, and we're going to see him playing tonight, and I'm sure there'll be many a Chelsea fan hoping that he plays well because they don't like Tottenham. There will be a Football Manager United career mode, Mark JBW, but it's going to be probably not until next week now, because I've got a busy week, if you know what I mean. When are you doing? Yeah, somebody else has just asked about that, so I'll answer that. Why aren't you watching Real Madrid versus Ajax? Delet is more important to watch, says Expisto. Because this is the thinking person's game. This is the better game. Real Madrid have been shit all season, and Ajax are nowhere near the level of Dortmund and Spurs. So this is the game to watch. And I'm English, and Jadon Sancho is English, and Pulisic is coming to the Premier League. And I like Dortmund. I like the way they play football, and I like Spurs. So that's why I'm watching Spurs versus Dortmund. But it's a democracy, people. If you want to watch Real Madrid play Ajax, off you pop. Score predictions. I think we're going to see goals. I don't think over the two legs this is a very easy tie to predict. I've actually got a feeling that Spurs might win. And I tell you what, just to bring it relevant to United for a couple of seconds, if Pochettino knocks Dortmund out, then you've got to be saying, is there a decision to be made by Manchester United if Pochettino wants the United job? Because he's done so well. I think they've won every Premier League game since Harry Kane and Dele Alli's been injured. All right, and they've been winning games late on. Their team spirit is unbelievable. And if they can beat Dortmund, who are arguably one of the form teams in Europe as well, what you've got to put that down to brilliance from the manager to be getting the best out of not his best players. 3-1 to Dortmund, says Mark Willis. It could go either way. It could go the other way. Billy Davidson says, I understand why people would be pissed that he picked England, but he has to think about his career and progressing, and Ireland at the moment aren't exactly the best team in the world. No, Billy, you make a good point. I think that Declan Rice and the letter he's put out, you can't knock the lad. He's made a decision, and I think he has made a decision about his career. That's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with him. He has got every right to choose England. I don't think anyone can have an issue with that. I just think that gloating about it, and he hasn't gloated about it, but some people are, I think it's a bit... I just maybe it's because I lived in Ireland and I have an affection for the Irish, but even though I'm English, that I would be respectful of them. And maybe that's why it is. I mean, Wales, maybe I'd banter Wales. I don't know. Scotland, maybe I'd banter them. But because I live there, I do have an affection for the Irish. And I just think the win is in getting Declan Rice. And that's their loss. We don't need to goad them about it because he may never play for England. So if you're goading them about it, ultimately, I'm not even scratching the surface. If you're goading the Irish because we've got Declan Rice, it's not about football. He might end up just being shit. It's actually about we've took a player away from you, and then it is about nationality. So I just think there's banter and there is understanding what banter is, and I don't think it's banter, to be honest. Some people might say you're an old stick in the mud, but I don't think it's banter, to be honest. I think it's a bit below the belt. It's a bit snaky, says Carmichael. I personally think the player's got the right to make the decision, and I think he explained it very, very well. And in the modern day, it's a bit like what I was talking about before about Jadon Sancho. I think Jadon Sancho, if he comes to the Premier League, would rather come to Manchester United than go back to Manchester City, because I think as a footballer, if you come to Manchester United in the modern world, you're going to get far more commercial deals, you're going to get far more commercial exposure. Look at Lingard and Sterling. Sterling's having the better season. Sterling's the better player. But Jesse Lingard's more in the public eye, because if you play for Manchester United, you get more exposure. And to be honest with you, your football career should be the number one, but actually the modern game, your football career is probably 90% of it, and your deals and exposure off the pitch commercially is 10% of it, and it sets you up for the rest of your life off the pitch. So that's why I think a lot of players would like to come to United. From an England point of view, it's the same again. There is a big difference in ability as well between England and Ireland, and that might be his decision as well. But actually, as an English player, you're going to get far more commercial deals. You're going to get far more exposure. And you know what? That sounds very shallow, but footballers are shallow, a lot of them. It is about how much money they can make. It is about how much exposure they're going to get. And you know what? He might believe that he can be one of the best midfielders in Europe. Well, Roy Keane was arguably the best midfielder in Europe. And playing for Ireland was about because he loved Ireland. But Ireland weren't a very good team with Roy Keane. I mean, he went to a couple of World Cups. Well, one of them he came home very quickly. But Roy Keane in an England shirt, he was never going to do that because he's from Cork. But ultimately, he didn't really achieve a lot in an Ireland shirt, did he? And Declan Rice has got that choice. And he's probably looking at it going, bloody hell, look at that England team. Jadon Sancho's in it, Rashford's in it, Lingard's in it. They've got loads and loads of good players. If I can get in that, I could be playing in World Cup finals potentially, which is a bit of a push as an England fan, I must admit. But it might be about that. It might just be about ability. Who knows? There we go. I need to get Mad Marcus on, actually. I've just forgotten it's his birthday and I've not even set it up. But you know what? The reason I brought it up because I love a good debate. I don't like a mass debate because it can go on for too long. I like a debate, and I think it posed a really good point tonight. So thanks everyone who's getting involved in it, and no doubt we can talk about it during the game as well. We're about 8 minutes away from kick-off at the moment, and Mad Marcus is in the live comments. I'm in the Discord, Mad Marcus, so just drop in there when you're ready. How do you think Sancho will keep up with United's style of play, says Zidane 1006? Well, he ain't signed for us yet. He hasn't signed for us yet, but hopefully he will do very, very soon. No, I don't know whether he's going to. I do think he would be the perfect player for us. I just want to say as well, please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're on 59,000 subscribers now, and we are getting very, very close to 60,000, which is a big thing to hit. So please do subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner, and please do share the video. That's football. I do FIFA on here. I do Football Manager on here, but also do watch-alongs for non-United games on here. So if you like all that stuff, get involved. Marcus, are you there? No, he's not with us yet. Well, he should be, actually. I can see him in there, but he's not talking away yet. So
yeah, I'm here.
Oh, he's here now. Happy birthday.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. How are we doing?
Oh, good. You?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty on a bit of a come down from yesterday, but yeah, pretty hyped up because of the day and looking forward to the match tonight.
Yeah, happy birthday. Have you had your birthday surprise yet?
No, that'll be when I go to bed, mate.
Yeah.
When the kids are asleep.
Cup of Horlicks with a flake in it.
But, yeah. But
to shove up your arse.
Just want to say that thanks for everyone for the birthday wishes and the DMs that I've had throughout the day. Much appreciated, and yeah, thank you all for the comments. Like really, got quite a few actually, a bit more than I imagined, to be honest. But yeah, I've had a great day, and looking forward to seeing this young lad tonight, the Sancho, and seeing what he's got.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it as well. I mean, I think the last couple of years, because we've done watch-alongs on this channel for the group stages before, and we always seem to watch a lot of Spurs because Spurs always seem to get put into tough groups. I mean, last year it was Real Madrid and Dortmund. This year it was Barcelona and I can't remember who else what group they were in. It was Inter, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Inter. So we do get to watch a lot of Spurs, and I think for anybody who's not English, and I get accused of being a Spurs fan. I'm not a Spurs fan. They're just, out of all the teams in the top six, as a United fan, we don't really have a bad history with Spurs. Spurs are quite an inoffensive, likeable team. And I'm sure Spurs fans probably don't like that because they probably want to be, if they'd won more trophies, we'd probably like them less. But I find Spurs quite inoffensive. I do like Spurs, and compared to Arsenal, who I don't like, Chelsea don't really like much, Liverpool obviously our biggest rival, and Man City, Plastic FC. So I quite like Spurs. I don't really wish them any harm unless they're playing against us. So, and I like Dortmund as well because I don't like Bayern Munich because they just hoover up all the good talent. So I do like Dortmund. So, and I like the approach Dortmund have. I love their football ground. I love their promotion of youth, their development. I mean, you look at over the years with Dortmund, and like Goetz went to Bayern, Lewandowski. They're the second best team in Germany, but Munich still take their players. It would be like United in their prime, just taking players from Arsenal. Oh, we did Van Persie. Oh, we did. Yeah, we did actually. But anyway, jokes apart, it's. Look, I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we're going to get a good game. What's your sort of prediction on it, Marcus? And everyone else in the live comments, and we'll read some out.
Do you know what? I mean, I fancy Spurs to win this one. I really do. I think they've proven, without Harry Kane, and Dele Alli. Son's come back obviously from that tournament in January, and he's gotten back firing again. He's putting the goals in again. So I do fancy Spurs for this one. I know Dortmund have obviously got some decent players. Pulisic and the Jadon Sancho lad, and they've got a decent goalkeeper as well. So they've got attacking threat, of course they have, and it's the Champions League. Anything can happen, as we saw and experienced last night. But I fancy Spurs to come through this. I think it's going to be a good open game, this one, and I'm going to go Spurs 2-1.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people going with a lot of goals, which is what we're both hoping for, really. What we're all hoping for. Narita says 3-3. Owen Dilworth says 2-2. Henry Bamba says 3-1 Dortmund. Green Sardin says 2-1 either way, but leaning towards Dortmund. Nathan Gray says 3-2 Spurs. 3-1 Spurs. A lot of goals in it. I mean, obviously, the away goals rule will have an impact. We will be doing Bayern Munich versus Liverpool next week. We'll do a watch-along for that next Tuesday night. No worries, and we'll do it on here. So, looking forward to that. Spurs are playing poor recently. They will be found out, says Ankit Sharma. Yeah, they are playing poor recently, but they're winning.
But yeah, I was just going to say that they're still getting the results, aren't they? So, I think, as we saw last night, I think it doesn't matter what sort of form you're in. Anything can happen on the night. So, but I think Spurs, they learnt a lot going through the group stages this year. They had a really tough group. They managed to get through. And again, this is another challenge for them. Dortmund, they're no pushovers. They got some really good talent in it. Is it Royce that plays in the midfield for them?
Who?
Marco Royce or something?
Oh, he's injured, he is.
So, I mean, is he still injured again? Yeah. But, I mean, they have got some good talent in there. So this is going to be a tough game for them. But I do think they'll come through.
They're top of the Bundesliga as well, so I think people, I think in recent years people have thought Dortmund are very good, and I remember Spurs playing them in the Champions League last year when they still had Aubameyang, but this year they are very good. They're keeping Bayern Munich off the top, and we're well past half point of the season, so they're a good team with a good mentality. But yeah, I'm very excited to watch Jadon Sancho. He's English, he's 18. I think he's opened a lot of young players' eyes who, I was talking about Tahith Chong at United. He's not really played any first-team football, and he's older than Jadon Sancho. Phil Foden at Man City, again, people have been going on about him for 2 years now. He hardly ever plays. Jadon Sancho made the decision, I'm not waiting around, I'm off. Because if he was still at City, he wouldn't be playing. No way, he wouldn't be playing.
Definitely.
So he's gone. He's playing for one of the best teams in Europe at the moment. He's one of their best players. And that's got to be an eye-opener to all these young talents, especially in England, to, force yourselves moves, get yourselves out there. I mean, to be fair, Pogba did it at United and went to Juventus. So fair play to them, because if you hang around at a club, as we're seeing with Hudson-Odoi and others, there's no guarantee that you're going to play games. So I think it's great. I think it's great what he's done, and fair play. And I hope a lot of other players start doing it as well, because I think there is a reluctance amongst a lot of clubs. I think Spurs, United and Liverpool are relatively good at it. But, if you're good enough, get yourself out there, and he did.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it takes a brave lad to want to go and play abroad in the first place, especially at such a young age. It's such a hit and miss. Obviously the leagues, I don't think the leagues, in Europe are as strong as the Premier League. So it was a big decision for him. And in terms of his career, you've got to say it's absolutely worked a treat for him.
Yeah.
He's in the form. He's an absolute top-notch player playing on the right-hand side. You got Pulisic out on the left-hand side. Goetze, that's the other guy I was thinking of, Goetze.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they have got some decent players, and I don't think that Sancho made the wrong decision. I really don't. I think he's done absolutely fantastic.
No, 100% made the right decision. We had a contribution here from Cobb Ross Aikins. Let's see how often Sancho stays wide right to receive the ball before cutting in, compared to how often he drifts into the number 10 area and waits, i.e. Mata. Yeah, but Cobb, you spoke to me about this on the United stand earlier, and I told you Jadon Sancho is fast. Juan Mata is slow. I'm not bothered about how many times he cuts inside. I'm not bothered about that. I think you're confusing me with what I said about Pogba. When you've got Pogba as your left-sided midfielder, your left winger has got to hog the touchline, because if they cut inside, they're getting in Pogba's space, which is what Sanchez does. And Sanchez is crap, and it ruins Pogba's game as well. So on the left-hand side, you don't want your left-hand side player cutting in because they're going to get in Pogba's way. On United's right-hand side, it doesn't matter if they cut in because Herrera's box-to-box. He's not attacking, so the space is there for you to cut in. I don't mind that. But you've got to have the legs to cut in, get back to the touchline, and back up your fullback. And Mata hasn't got the legs to do that. So I don't mind if Jadon Sancho plays on the right and cuts in because there is an opportunity to do that in a United team if we went and got him. But he might play on the left tonight. He might play on the left because Pulisic and him can play either side anyway. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
I'm very interested to see how Pulisic does tonight as well. I mean,
after Chelsea.
A couple of American people that I speak to really rate him. So,
well, it looks like Pulisic is going to start on the left anyway, and with Sancho on the right.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what Chelsea have invested in. I think they paid, what was it, about 56, 57 million for him.
Yeah, Well, he's Hazard's replacement, isn't he?
Well, this is it. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on against the English opposition tonight, and it'll be good for me to see what they've invested in as well. So,
well, we're off here, and it's Jadon Sancho on the ball straight away there on the right hand side, number 7 for Dortmund. It all just seems too good to be true, doesn't it? But I mean, I think if Juan Mata and Jadon Sancho sprinted for 100 metres, you could give Juan Mata an 80-metre head start and Sancho would still win it.
Yeah, you could probably start Mata off at the halfway line and say, right, run to the other end, and Sancho will still beat him there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do you think it's a possibility that he could come? I know, I saw your video today. I mean, it's going to take a lot of persuasion to get him.
I think he would come. I think Dortmund would sell. It's just whether United would pay, and I don't know whether we will. I think we're looking like we're going to scrimp and save again, to be honest. But he's exactly the sort of player we should be getting, because last night we were abysmal down the right-hand side. You need a right-hand-sided player who's as much as a threat as Martial is down the left, so that you can't have a situation like last night where PSG just overloaded our left-hand side to nullifiers and said, do what you want down the right-hand side, and we didn't have any talent down there.
Yeah, definitely. I think a big pull to bring him to United would be, I think he wears 7 for Dortmund, doesn't he? So could we offer him the 7 shirt as well?
See, here he is at the moment. Cobros Aikens will have a hard-on because he'll be like, Jadon Sancho's on the left-hand side. But that interchangeability is fine.
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of the interchange at United with the front three, so if he can do it well at Dortmund, there'll be absolutely no reason why he wouldn't just slot in to United's front three.
I'll tell you what, Arsenal will have their first double since the late 90s if Spurs lose tonight. They'll be claiming that as a double. United losing last night and Spurs losing tonight. I love Arsenal fans have given me a lot of fun today because I just love their mentality that they claim PSG wins against United and they'll claim a Dortmund win tonight, despite the fact that they're in snowy Belarus playing a bunch of farmers in the Emmerdale Cup and they're 6th in the league, but they'll still think they've got the one up on Spurs if Spurs lose to Dortmund tonight. Crazy mentality, but definitely. Spurs they're going for the double, and then if they win against the Farmers tomorrow night, it'll be their first treble in their history.
That would be an amazing tweet for him, wouldn't it?
Well, Dortmund have started off with the ball a lot here, which is no surprise.
Spurs look like they're the away team at the minute for me. Not really settled in the game. But yeah, that lad, he is quick there. I've just seen him chase down the ball as well. They really, I think, Alderweireld and I think it's Vertonghen in there, or was it Sanchez? Really got to get a hold of him. Oh, Don. Offside. So how was your day, Mark? All right.
Good. Yeah, good. Not too bad. There's a bit of an argument in the live comments because apparently I said Arsenal are 6th when they're 5th on goal difference. Oh God, it's such a big thing. Oh, you're 5th or you're 6th. You're not in the top 4, are you? You're shit. Let's be honest.
Either way, we're above you, so it doesn't really matter. Have you heard anything about? I know it's United related. About Lingard and Martial.
All I've heard about Lingard and Martial is that they are highly likely not to play against Chelsea and likely not to be playing against Liverpool as well.
Okay, because last I heard was Ollie's conference last night after the game saying that they'd have to wait a couple of days to see the extent of it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, just looking at Son there, people are going to laugh when I say this, but he reminds me of Ronaldo in his body movement. Obviously, he's not Ronaldo, but his little runs and his little speed, and he is wearing a number 7 as well, but he's got that injection of pace, and he's a very physical player as well. I think Son's been brilliant this year.
Spurs just trying to get a hold of the ball. Seem to be hitting the long balls quite often as well, which are pretty comfortable for Dortmund's defence to handle. Right, interesting to see how Christian Eriksen performs tonight as well, seeing as he's been linked with a summer move away.
A lot of people saying he's Sonaldo. That's obviously where it comes from.
Sonaldo.
I've said Son's better than Hazard this season, and I mean it. I think on form he is better, but Hazard Easters won't have that. It's funny actually. I was down Stamford Bridge yesterday. That video will be out tomorrow. We filmed quite a bit down there, but again, you go to Old Trafford, and no matter what time of day it is, whether it's summer, winter, whatever, no match day, it's always busy. It's always busy at Old Trafford. I went to Arsenal the other week, dead, and I went to Chelsea even later. It was like 1 o'clock. No one there. It's funny though, you've got people do watch my little tour of the outside of it, because there's a funny bit there. There's a really funny bit I didn't even know was there. There's some proper history at the Chelsea Stamford Bridge ground, and that's all I'm going to say. But Spurs on the attack here. Vertonghen gets the cross in. It's a bit of a 50-50 start this so far. Lucas Moura with a bit of space. Oh, I tell you what, I thought that was going in. Headed into him on the edge of the box. Takes it down with his knee. Smashes the volley. Keeper's like that. We're thinking this is going in, and it can't have been far off as we watch it back. Lovely bit of play by Lucas Moura. High ball, well onside. One touch, bang. That's not the angle we want to see. Oh, come on.
Oh, what a hit that was.
They haven't shown us the angle from behind the goal. Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, the Christian Eriksen again was heavily involved there with that in the build-up play leading up to it. But I mean, fantastic takedown from Lucas on his knee, right side, right foot, just puts his foot right through it on the half volley, and the goalie is absolutely stranded.
It's a good cross by Aurier. Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't seen that Lucas Moura shot from the angle that's most important to see how close it was to the goal. There's a few people just saying there, well, what's your next ground you're going to go to? Well, I've been to Arsenal and Stamford Bridge in the last few weeks because of the FA Cup. So if we get through, I'll have to go to wherever... Oh, bloody hell, it was close. It was very close. What a hit.
Yeah, not far away.
I tell you what, if he scores that, it's a worldie. The way he takes it down, it was fantastic. I'm really pleased that Lucas Moura is playing tonight, because he hasn't been playing a lot. He's been on the bench and they've been playing Llorente. But I like the fact that they've got Lucas Moura and Ronaldo, because I like pace. As you can tell by me, I'm a bit of a speed demon. But no, I do like pace. I like finesse. I like flair over the, Llorente's a bit of a target man, isn't he? So I like the fact that Spurs have gone with that pace. And he very nearly scored an absolute worldie there. Absolutely superb.
So the cushion down on the knee to take the bounce out of the ball, coming down onto him from that height as well, was absolutely fantastic. And to still keep control of the ball as well. What a touch that was. Fantastic. But it's literally inches wide of the goalkeeper's left-hand post. And the goalie was just like, he was nowhere near it, rooted to the spot.
We have got some championship games tonight as well, which is good. We'll keep you up to date with those. Ajax Real Madrid still 0-0 as well. And there's been early goals for Preston North End against Norwich, and Derby are winning 1-0 away to Ipswich. I haven't even looked at the championship table for a long time, so we might do that in a bit. But this game has started well. I thought Dortmund started okay, but I think Spurs are definitely the team on top at the moment, and they'll be very happy with their start so far.
Yeah, I think they would be. Yeah, I mean Dortmund, I mean, apart from that chance there by Lucas, I think Dortmund have started very well. They've got to get Pulisic and Sancho, a lot more on the board to push the fullbacks back for Spurs.
Well, I mean, Sissoko's bad. I like the Spurs formation, actually. They're playing three at the back with the Aurier and Vertonghen as sort of wing backs. Then you've got Winks and Sissoko. Oh, Sonaldo was nearly in then. Winks and Sissoko, and then ahead of them you've got Ericsson with Sonaldo and Lucas Moura. So it's good. Norwich are losing at the moment, Jinx, and I know they're doing well. Yeah, I don't know where I'll go. I do tell you what, I do want to go to. I feel really bad about this, and some people would say, "Why do you feel bad about it?" Because they're your biggest rival. But I do think I do want to go and have a look at Anfield. I don't like Liverpool because they're our biggest rival, but it is a very historic football ground, and I've never been to it for one. I've nearly been a couple of times, but I've never been. So I would like to go to Anfield. And I'd like to go because obviously they've got the gates, haven't they? Because of Hillsborough as the mark of respect there. And I actually was at Hillsborough as a kid as well, so I would like to go there just sort of pay my respects as well. So yeah, Anfield's definitely on the list. And as much as I'd like to take the piss out of them, I'd have to be. I don't think I could. Certainly not about that. Well, why would anybody do that? But I've done most of the good ones now.
I suppose having a lot of the possession there, trying to work the spaces, trying to get Ericsson involved as much as they can. But Dortmund are doing quite well, close the space down. They're on Ericsson quite quickly. Obviously, one of the main dangers for Spurs.
Flaming Glitcher says, if you go, we'll start losing. To be fair, yeah, I did go to the Emirates and they had a few bad results, didn't they? I'm hoping it's going to work with the Stamford Bridge as well. And maybe I do need to get up to Anfield a bit quick then. Yellow card here for Aurier. Pulisic turn of pace. Chelsea fans all like that. I mean, Chelsea need Pulisic to be a very good signing because Hazard is gone in the summer. So he's your next Hazard, isn't he? And also, I don't know how true this is. Somebody in the live comments will know because they're brilliant with their knowledge. Apparently, Chelsea are going to get a transfer ban until next summer. So they won't be able to buy in this summer or the next January. So that's going to be interesting.
What's happening up, is it?
I don't know. Somebody messaged me about it today.
I'll tell you, Pulisic absolutely left Aurier for dead there. Out on that touchline. Skip past him. Could be an interesting battle now for the rest of the game. Dortmund just, again, trying to get a foothold in the game, just trying to keep it simple. But they've got some real frightening pace down the flanks.
Samir says, how are Dortmund playing, Mark? They're playing a bit like an away team in Europe, really. They're sort of feeling their way into the game. I'd say Spurs have had a little bit more of the possession, but it looks like a finely balanced game, to be honest with you.
It's got all the ingredients for an entertaining game tonight because both teams will want to get a goal to take into the second leg. Oh.
Callum Abstract says Chelsea are actually able to buy players this summer, and then it'll be the next two windows, so they'll probably spend quite a lot in the summer then. Which is a problem for United, because we all talk about the great thing about the transfer window, isn't it? Oh, we need to spend this, we need to spend that, but it also depends how many other clubs are spending money as well, which inflates the market and makes the pool less. I think Real Madrid will spend big in the summer as well, because they've had a bad season.
Don't really follow the Spanish leagues that much. I mean, who's top out there? It's got to be Barcelona or Madrid, isn't it? Surely.
It's Barcelona, but I don't think the points gap. I might be able to get it here. I think it's about 4 points. I think I've got a funny feeling that Atletico Madrid might be second.
Wow. So Simeone's still there at Atletico, is he?
Yeah, but Real Madrid had a very, very, very bad start to the season. No, Real Madrid are second, 45 points. Barcelona have got 451, and Atletico Madrid have got 44.
Okay.
It was a bigger gap, but Barcelona have drawn 2 in their last 5, whereas Real Madrid have won 5 in a row, so they've made 4 points up on them. The gap was up to 9 points.
Ooh.
It's a bit of a weird league. Oh, here we go. Ooh, chance there for Pulisic. Saved by the feet by Lloris. So Pulisic has had a good start. If you're a Chelsea fan, you'd be quite happy with this. Mistake by the young Spurs defender, and it looked like a bit of a foul to me, but Pulisic got his shot away and Lloris saved it with his feet. It was a foul. Bad referee, that.
First 15 minutes for him. You'd have to say money well spent at the minute. He looks a danger, he looks a threat. He's got some serious pace about him, bit of trickery. I mean, it looks like he's done more for Dortmund in the first 15 minutes than what Hazard did for Chelsea against City the other day.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah. He's certainly got the moves, this boy.
Stephen Richards says, Mark, see your bubble burst last night. Oh, God, you know what? I've just done a video on the United stand. I'm not that bothered. I'm really not that bothered. It's like, it's disappointing to lose a game of football, but have people suddenly realised that you don't... Here's Sancho. He's cut out there by Oliveira. You lose football games. Liverpool lose the football games. Man City lose football games. I'd much rather lose to one of the best teams in the world than lose at home to Huddersfield. It happens. I'm not that bothered about it, really. And also, I think there's a positive with it that, you know, we get to see how Ollie reacts to such a... we were outclassed, we deserve to lose, but it just makes me laugh how people think we can be bantered because we lost a game of football because we thought we were going to win every single game. Never thought that. I've always said we're going to lose games, and it is what it is. You lose games of football. PSG are a good team. Go again.
You know what, I much preferred going into that game last night with the optimism and the mentality of, you know, we were going to win than having Mourinho in charge thinking we're going to lose 4 or 5-0 in the first match. That's the way I looked at it today. I was just so much happier going into that last night, buzzing about it and thinking what an exciting game it could be. You know, how many could we score by? Instead, you know, we could have had the ex-manager in charge thinking, God Christ, how many are we going to lose by tonight? You know, I saw on social media today on Twitter that apparently some fans were saying to get Ollie out and Mourinho would have done a better job. I don't think that's fair at all.
I suppose maybe that's why we've had so much sort of people trying to banter us today, because that's the football mentality we live in. You lose a game of football and you've got to react. Oh, look at that, banter FC. Ha ha, you lost a game of football. Oh, Ollie needs to go. I mean, that's a worrying precedent, really, because... And I blame people like the knob in the hat. I do, because I know people were saying, oh, he was tweeting mocking United last night because they lost, but he's scripted. He is scripted. He does that on purpose because he wants to wind rival fans up so that when Arsenal lose, which they will, people will go and watch his videos to go ha ha ha. He does it on purpose. It's all an act. That's why he's trying to wind you up, so that the next time Arsenal lose, you go and watch his video and he gets more views. That's why he's doing it. But the broader picture of, I think people have lost the ability to deal with a loss, when sometimes you're going to lose. You're going to lose games of football. Doesn't matter who you support. Arsenal, Chelsea, you're going to lose more. But, you know, seriously though, you're going to lose games of football, and you don't need to be manager out. You don't need to be sack the board. You don't need to be it was the players' fault. I mean, to be honest with you, last night there were some United players that shouldn't be at the club, but we've been saying that for more than last night. We were saying that when we were winning games. But sometimes you lose games of football because you're not good enough. Because at the end of the day, 11 against 11, more often than not, one team will win if it's not a draw. So, well, they will. Obviously, they will. So, yeah, I think you're right there, Marcus. I think there is this... I don't know, people were saying, oh, he was tweeting mocking United last night because they lost. I think there is this... I think there is this... there is this. I mean, look, obviously the banter's fine. You've always had the banter. If you lose a game of football, people will try and banter you. But I thought there was a massive overreaction to United losing last night, and
there was.
Not just amongst the United fan base, but certainly from rivals. Like, it's weird. PSG are clearly one of the top 5 teams in the world, and I don't think United are even in the top 20 at the moment. Really, I don't. I don't think we're in the top 20 in the world. We need to do a lot of work. But if Spurs lose this game tonight, I mean, Dortmund have got a good free kick opportunity here. I think Pulisic is about to whip it in, and Pulisic has had a very good start. But if Spurs lose this, would Spurs fans be saying Pochettino out? I mean, maybe some of them would, but that would be ridiculous. They've won every single game without Harry Kane and Dele Alli with a heart. He's not had any money to spend either, and they've been winning games like in the last few minutes of games. It's shown real quality and really, really astute management. If they lose to Dortmund tonight, should Spurs fans be going, oh, he's fucking shit, get rid of him? There probably will be some that do that, and I think that's dangerous. I do. I think that's a mentality I don't agree with. I think you've got to be able, in life, you've got to be able to deal with setbacks. And maybe, I tell you who I blame, Simon Cowell. It's the X Factor generation. They want it all and they want it now. But life is about dealing with setbacks. You can't win all the time. And actually, sometimes you win by being humble and accepting that it's not your day. Like when we do the United Stand football team, I intend to win every single game, but as manager we won't win. And you know what I'll do? I'll walk up to the opposition, I'll shake their hand and say, that's football. Good little plug there, please do subscribe. But no, you've got to be humble in defeat. You've got to be humble in defeat sometimes. Not all the time, but you have got to be humble. Here's Sancho now. Good cross. He did well there.
He did.
He showed what he's all about. Yes, lad. Anyway, I've had a contribution coming in from Red Baron. As long as I can see progression and not regression in the team, I'm satisfied. I don't care about instant results. That's the mentality of Chelsea, and they have meltdowns every 2 years. We're United, and we're better than that. Thanks for the contribution. It's interesting. I was talking to Louis last night, yesterday when I was up at Stamford Bridge, who does 100% Chelsea because we were filming stuff for the game on Monday, and I don't know whether it's in the video, so I don't think I'm giving a spoiler. And I was saying to him, I'm pretty sure it was off camera, I said, what I don't get about Chelsea is and Man City, you've got 2 of the best youth setups in the world, and you win a lot of FA Youth Cups, you've got the best teams, but we never see any of your youth playing. At Liverpool we see youth, at Spurs we see youth, and at United we see youth, but at Spurs and at Chelsea and City we never see you using your youth, even though you've got 2 of the best youth systems. And he said that it's because it's all about instant results at Chelsea. But I said, but you're not getting the instant results, so why not give some of the youth a chance? And I think at Chelsea it's very difficult because the chairman is so haphazard. He'll sack people, and I always, in fairness, I'll talk about any football club, and I think Chelsea's biggest mistake is that they've sacked so many managers over the years. When they should have been patient with 1 or 2 of them, and Ancelotti is the one they should never have got rid of. He would have been there. He would have stayed there for a decade. Yeah, he was having a slightly bad season after winning the double, but he should not have been sacked. But their eyes light up. Chelsea, Abramovich has always been like that. Their eyes light up at the next big thing, and that's what they do all the time with their playing squad and the management. But Dortmund have gone up a gear here. Oh, cross from Pulisic. Lloris has got it in his hands.
Sancho and Pulisic are absolutely tearing apart the back line of Spurs. They just can't keep a hold of them at all. They know they're going to get beaten for pace. The back 3 that Spurs are playing.
Sancho again there on fire, and he fed in Pulisic, and Pulisic couldn't get the cross in. But
I've seen this kid already.
I've said it, Marcus. I've said it. He's 18 years of age. And if he was Portuguese or Argentinian, they'd be talking about him being the best player in the world in the next few years. And I'm just because he's English, I'm not going to say he's not. He is the real deal. And I actually look forward to England games now because he is. We've got people like Rashford who we like, but this lad, he can be anything. He can be anything he wants to be. And God willing, hopefully he will fulfil his talent because he can be. It's very rare to be able to predict this, but I think he could be one of the best players in the world. He's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's the pace that the boy's got, the trickery, that the balance as well, the movement with the ball. The ball just seems to stay stuck to his feet. He doesn't seem to lose control of it. It's almost like the ball's a magnet to him.
Well,
He
imagine
gets
the
sucked through.
scenario. We'd probably be doing this as a watch along anyway tonight. And if number 7 is called Jaden Fritz, and he's an 18-year-old German, we'd still be saying the same thing. That number 7 looks brilliant. It's just brilliant that he's actually English. And if you're English or you like England, then it's great, because we haven't had a player like that for a long time. And it does tend to happen in England every 20 years or so. You get a real talent. I mean, I think Gascoigne was superb. Then we got Rooney, so we're long overdue. I mean, we've got good players. I mean, like I say, I really do rate people like Marcus Rashford, but this guy, this is like Stark. This is top. This is world class talent potentially.
This is absolutely. Oh, do you know what? I've never seen an English player, I don't think, with this amount of skill, especially a winger.
Mm.
I mean, I can't think of many wingers that played for.
Chris Waddle was brilliant, but he's probably a little bit before your time.
But it's just what this lad possesses is just a complete on another level. It really is. He's been involved in the game. He's been picking the ball up. He's been running at the centre backs, but the centre backs they're so scared to tackle him. It's almost similar to probably how the defenders feel when Martial's running at you, down that left-hand side. And when you think, if we can get this lad in for the right-hand side, I think that front three of Rashford, Martial and then Sancho would be absolutely phenomenal. It's just raw pace all across the front. And it would make those teams sit an extra 10, 15 yards deeper as well.
Yeah. And the thing is, you often hear, well, Man City must be kicking themselves. Well, they're not kicking themselves, because he'd be kicking his heels in the youth team if he was still there. They wouldn't use him. This is what we were saying at kickoff. Well, fair play to the lad for thinking, I ain't staying at Man City. All right, they're probably going to pay me good money to stay here, but I ain't going to get any chances. I'm going to go. And Foden should have done it as well. He's a good player. He should have got out of there, because he's hardly playing as well. He's took hold of his career, and fair play to the lad, and now he's one of the most exciting players in world football, playing regularly for a team that's top of the German league, ahead of Bayern Munich. When if he'd stayed at Man City, he'd be still playing youth football. He wouldn't even be making the bench, because Pep don't play the youth. So all those people who say Man City fans must be kicking themselves, you're wrong, because he wouldn't be being used, and we wouldn't know who he is. And
just goes to show the mentality he's got as well. He wants to play football. Money is not a concern. He'd rather go away to a different league, play first team football for less money, than stay and be, not even really a bit part player at the defending English champions. So you've got to give him credit to that. That's a ballsy move to do that at such a young age. And the boys. He must have some confidence in himself as well.
Just want to ask a quick question, because as I said at the start, I've not watched any German football this season, and I'm thinking about getting into it a bit, because I never normally watch it because it's a pub league. Bayern Munich just win it every year because they hoover up all the talent, but Dortmund are actually top at the moment, so I think I might start watching a bit. I've been watching a lot of Italian football as usual, a bit of La Liga, but I've not been watching German football, and I don't know the answer to this, so I'm just going to put it in the live comments. Where's Weigl? Is he injured? Where's Akanji? Is he injured? I know Marco Reus is injured. Where's Akalsa? I know I've pronounced it wrong. The striker, because that's 4 of their very good players who are not even here today. So you can talk about Spurs having injury problems, but Dortmund have got 4 of their very good players there.
Yeah.
But someone in the live comments, if you could let us know about those 4, that would be great. I've had a super chat coming here from Nicholas P. I think we should send Chong and Greenwood to Germany for a year, then pick them up the following year. I think we were talking about that before. There's a lot to be said for these young players taking ownership of their careers. And even if they do have to leave big clubs, go somewhere else and build your career. The responsibility of the big clubs is to give them game time. If they can't do it, like Man City weren't doing it with Sancho, then take control of your career, because otherwise you'll waste it, like a lot of these Chelsea lads do. And to be fair to Heath Chong, play him Greenwood, play him or get him on loan, or they won't be happy. Because a lot of young players now are going to be looking at Jadon Sancho tonight and this season and going, well, why am I not getting him a chance? Why am I not getting him a chance? Yeah. Yasser Side says Barca lost to Roma last year, and I believe there's a bigger gulf in class between them than United and PSG. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, another prime example of that, Mark, is the lad at Chelsea, the Hudson-Odoi lad. You know,
Bayern won him then.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he was willing to go. Chelsea don't want to let him go, probably because of what's happened here at the minute with Sancho. You know, so a lot of these players, a lot of these young players, I mean, fair play to Sancho. He set an example, you know, for the younger talent that's coming through at these, you know, these big clubs and that. If you're not getting the game time, then you can go abroad and you can make it. All right, okay, the money might not be better, but there's bigger things to life and better things to life than money. And yeah, I mean, fair, like you said, fair play to him, mate. He's doing a fantastic job out there in Germany.
All those players that I mentioned for Dortmund, Andrew Ellis and a few others have said that they're injured, which is probably makes sense. But please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, we're getting close to 60,000 subscribers, so please do subscribe if you're new. We do watch-alongs for non-United games on here. Do a lot of the Champions League games, to be fair, and also I do my Football Manager and FIFA stuff on here if you're interested in that. Robert Moore has made a contribution. He says Sancho, Martial, Rashford. Imagine that front three. But I did a video on the United stand at lunchtime before this game, saying that United need to go and get this player. Sancho and Foden won the World Cup under-17s in India, says Samajit Guhamajunda. Yeah, exactly. And a few other players won that tournament as well, but how many of them have took hold of their career like Sancho has?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Roadrunner's just said in the comments, look at Ross Barkley. He left Everton and isn't improving with Chelsea's coaching. Hudson-Odoi should have left as he won't get first-time position. So, you know, surely Gareth Southgate's got to be, you know, pretty much worried about this sort of situation. You know, a lot of English talent are being linked to go abroad because they're not getting game time at their parent clubs. So,
to be honest with you, if I was a young player, if I was, you know, Hudson-Odoi or whatever like that, yeah, it's great. I'd try and force the move to Bayern Munich, but there's got to be a few others like him, and I'd be like, I'll go and play for Bournemouth. It's about my career. It's not about money at this point. I'll go and play for Bournemouth. I just want to play football and force my way into, you know, because the thing is, like, if you look at Foden at Man City, or Pep's probably there, I'll give you 5 minutes off the bench when we're winning 6-0, and I'll do that 3 or 4 times a season. That's no good. He's not learning anything doing that. If he went to Bournemouth and played 30 games in the season for Bournemouth and really developed, Man City would probably play him next season because he's proven himself as being Premier League worthy. But you're never going to get a chance. Ilyas Wahab says Sancho and Hakimi look wavy on the right. Thank you, pal. City do have a buyback clause with Sancho. People are right. I spoke about this at lunchtime as well. But it's not... Here we go. It might be a chance here for Son. Good block. Spurs have been very quiet, actually, for the last 10 minutes. Dortmund have been a better team.
Yeah, it's all been Dortmund, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Just seems like they've lost the grip on the game at the minute. They're trying to slow the game down, Spurs, but as soon as Dortmund get hold of the ball, the pace is ramped up again, and Pulisic and Sancho are just absolutely tearing them apart down the flanks. Aurier's on a yellow as well, so maybe Pulisic should target that side.
Johnny Meston says Sancho's been better than Hazard this season. Fact, well, it's not hard when you actually are playing in the Champions League and not the Amadale Cup.
Yeah, definitely.
Didn't Eric Dyer start off as Sporting Lisbon, says Bilal Hassan? I think he did, yeah. I think he did. But yeah, just going back to the Jadon Sancho buyback clause that Man City have got, my understanding of it is that if somebody offers, if Dortmund accept an amount, so say Barcelona offer him 100 million, it was a good cutback there, and Eriksen just puts it over the bar. If if Barcelona are off 100 million or any amount, 60 million, 70 million, if Dortmund accept an offer, then they've got to put it to Man City to see if they want to match the offer, and then Man City get that first refusal. So it doesn't mean Sancho's got to go to Man City. There's no requirement for him to go to Man City, but Man City do get first refusal if they want to bid. But Man City have never spent over £60 million for a player. Sancho's going to go for 100 million, I think, at least. So if Man City want to spend 100 million pounds on a player that they never give a chance to, they're going to look a bit stupid.
How much did they pay for De Bruyne?
Good shot, good save. Lloris. Dortmund are in again here. Oh, Spurs will get rid of it. I don't know how much they paid for De Bruyne, but they've never paid over 60.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Hazard is better than Pedro, Sancho, Willian and Pulisic, says Shoe Guy. Okay, you believe what you want, mate. It's all about opinion. I'm just going to go into the back system here, Marcus, because it's something I can do. Mm-hmm. Well, we've got nearly 3,000 people watching, so please do share the video, get involved in the comments, and subscribe if you are new on the road to 60k. We will be doing Liverpool Bayern Munich next week as well, which I think is Tuesday.
Yep. What's that, an 8 o'clock one again, is it?
It must be. Son into the box. Yeah. Ooh, good with the feet, because Ericsson was there to follow it in. It wasn't Ericsson, actually, it was Lucas Moura. Harry Winks, crap. He can't shoot. That boy can't shoot.
Spurs, again, they're just slowing the pace down. They're not really. I mean, Son's not really been involved much. Again, apart from Lucas's shot, the half volley, not really threatened much. It's the more threatening team is Dortmund for me. They had the chance just now where Son got down the left and put it across the face of goal, but it was quite comfortably dealt with by the Dortmund keeper. So you finished in the back system, have you?
What?
The Spurs just trying to keep it together. Pressing 4. I think Lucas was offside then, surely. Yeah. So free kick to Dortmund. So coming up to the 37-minute mark. So just under 10 minutes to go till half time. So what do you think overall impressions of Pulisic, Mark, so far?
I think he looks all right. I mean, I would have took him at United. I've always quite liked him. I think he looks a good player, but it's just done very well there, actually. He's put Sancho in. They've got a 2v2 and an overlap. Sancho running into space. I think that could be... No, he's played it on. I thought it looked a foul. It was a very dangerous position. Sancho was running at a back two. He had options to the right and left. Sissoko seemed to put a foot down and he went foot out and he went down, but ref played it on, so it was obviously it must have been a good tackle. Fell over himself, says Jinx. Yeah, I think Pulisic looks good. I've always rated him. I don't think he's. I think Pulisic is. I can't remember how old he is now. I'm not sure if he's even 20 yet. But that's a tough job to come into Chelsea and replace Hazard at that age. And he's not always been a starter for Dortmund this season. So Ajax are winning 1-0 against Real Madrid.
Oh.
They're not good. This is it. This is the brilliance of Ronaldo and Zidane. Makes a big difference. We've seen it with Ollie. It's amazing what difference a manager can make to a squad.
So, Dortmund, they are looking threatening, aren't they? I think the one thing this half has lacked so far is a goal. I think Dortmund overall, have been a better team. They've shown that they want to go forward. They've shown they're not come to Wembley, looking for a 0-0.
I've had a comment here that I've got to read out. It's a tell me off comment, Marcus. They said it's from Barry Reid. He says, "Your stance on Bayern Munich and the Bundesliga is ignorant. It is not a pub league, and Bayern do not buy most of the league's youth. Dortmund do." I didn't say that, Barry. What I said is, Big Bad Barry, I said that Bayern Munich hoover up all the good talent in that league like a monopoly. They do. They do. I didn't say young talent. I said they actually more do the established talent. They can't be arsed with the young talent. They let Dortmund and others get the young talent, turn them into good players, and then they buy it. And it's been proven over the years. They've done it with Lewandowski, with Goetz, with what's that centre-back called, who was at Dortmund as well? Hummels, yeah. They've done it loads and loads of times. And it is a pub league traditionally because Bayern Munich have all the best players and they win the league every year. So it's boring. Sput Beer says, "Cheers, Madam Mark." Marcus and Mark, love these shows. Thanks for contribution, pal. Appreciate that. Real are 1-0 down. Apparently they went to VAR.
Well, so it can be used then. It should have been used last night for a couple of dodgy decisions, I think.
Ajay says, thoughts about Witsel as a CDM for Manchester United. He's a little bit quicker than Matic, but I think he's the same age, so not for me.
I don't know a lot about him, mate, to be perfectly honest.
I think he might even be 31. So he's not the solution. United need to go and get players that are going to be with us for a few years. It's no goal for Ajax apparently. 0-0. Disallowed.
Dortmund.
I wonder why they didn't use VAR on Pogba's second yellow card last night. Actually,
you know, I think they should have used it on the Kimpembe one as well.
Yeah.
Especially the second one with Rashford, because it's been well documented that at least one of those challenges that he did was a second yellow. No, but again, you know, they'll use it when it suits them and when they don't want to, don't they? So, you're right. I think Dortmund have been the better of the two teams in this half, Mark. I think both teams just lack that cutting edge.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, yeah, I think you can tell Spurs are seriously missing Harry Kane. They're not as threatening as they would be normally. I think those four players that you mentioned as well, you know, if they're first teamers, I mean, especially the midfielder, just Spurs are just getting a little bit too much freedom just inside there in Dortmund's half.
It's a bit of a shame that both teams have been a bit wasteful in the final third, really, because 0-0 isn't what anybody predicted from this game. No. I think we thought we were going to see a few goals. Luke Flynn says Sancho, Wan-Bissaka and then Dembele, then the title is United's. Thoughts, Mark? I mean, that would be a very, very good transfer window, to be honest. Really want Madrid to get knocked out, says Jack Coleman. I can't see Real Madrid. I predicted Real Madrid would win it for the last 2 years, and I was obviously right. I didn't predict they'd win it this year. I can't see them winning it this year. If you're asking me who's going to win the Champions League, I think, I don't like saying it, but I think I'd put Man City, and probably Barcelona. I mean, PSG, if they can get their players back, they might be a threat. To be honest, they were very impressive last night.
Yeah.
George Ramos says, Mark and Marcus, what is your problem with 30-year-olds? Some still can play in their prime. And Mr. MJ Neighbour says 90% a pub league if we go by notion of same team wins all the time. Every league in Europe has the dominating teams year after year. Yeah, but it's the quality, MJ Neighbour, as well.
I was just going to say that. I think when you hit 30, 31, I was like it as well. I've always been like it. I don't think United should be relying on that sort of age of a player. Especially when
it's about building for the future, isn't it? I think that's what I'm saying.
Exactly. It's about the young ones, get the young ones coming through because you don't want, like let's say, for argument's sake, we don't want Ashley Young taking up, say, someone like Fosu Mensah. How are we going to know if Fosu Mensah is good enough if we're giving Ashley Young an extra year's contract? That's just going to set Fosu back another year.
And we know Ashley Young's not good enough as well, so it's weird, isn't it?
So, I mean, why are we haggling to give Mata another contract? We've got Lingard out on that side. Mata, if he gets another contract, that will stop us buying a right-sided more midfielder, or it will put Chong back, a year or two. Because we know that majority of the managers go for.
Oh, Dortmund nearly scored. Cross comes in, and header from the centre back for Dortmund, and Lloris. It was a pretty easy save, but again, it's Jadon Sancho with the cross, and Lloris with the diving save. Again, another facet of Sancho's game there. It was a right-footed, fantastic cross, and.
Very close, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's because he heads it down onto the Spurs defender that takes the power out of it. Alex Marmon says, "Hi Mark and Marcus, love your watch-alongs. Who would you play in the United team to play Chelsea, bearing in mind injuries in the Liverpool game? And who do you think would be the best replacement for Hazard at Chelsea? Isco, Insigne, Coutinho. By the way, love going for Goldbridge show. Keep it up, Mark," says Taylor J. Well, I think maybe Chelsea have already got their replacement, Taylor. And it's Pulisic. It's half time. As for United on Monday, I think United have got to put a strong team out, Marcus, as strong as possible, because it's still nearly a week before the Liverpool game, and you don't want to lose 2 games in a row.
No, you don't want to lose 2 games in a row, but ultimately, the focus, I think everyone will agree on, is the top 4. I mean, that's the bread and butter, I think, for United this season. That's the aim. No matter which way you look at it, we've played 10 wins and 1 loss and 1 draw. So for me, I do think we should get a couple of the youngsters in for that FA Cup game. I really do. Maybe it will surprise Chelsea as well, going into that FA Cup game. Bit of unpredictability. I'd certainly think the young lad for the right hand side should start if Lingard's injured. I don't think Mata solves our problems at all. And if anything, Mata, Sanchez and Lukaku just add to our problems. So I would go with a couple of the youngsters in there and just see how they go. If they do well, put a strong team out for Liverpool, and then chuck the young lads in again away at Paris Saint-Germain.
Mr. MJ Neighbour says, Wenger had the right way. Once you hit 30, you get a 1-year contract, prove your worth, otherwise the youth deserves to come through. Mr. Exclusive says, is it time for Greenwood Chong after them injuries? I think it is. I don't think we will use them though. I think he'll keep flogging the dead horse of Mata and Sanchez, because he has tended to do that. Sancho is quality, says Anthony Martial. He has had a very, very good half. And thank you for agreeing, Mad Marcus, says Andrew Ellis. And did you hear what Ali said about Sanchez last night, says Max Singh? I meant to talk about it on the show earlier, actually. He was saying that Sanchez needs to find himself, which in management talk means Sanchez is fucking shit. It is. As soon as I read that, I thought he is basically saying that.
Yeah, in the politest way possible.
Yeah. If a manager says to you, you need to find yourself, that basically means you're absolutely terrible. It does. It's basically washing his hands of him, saying, I can't do it. I can give him the opportunities. He's got to do it for himself, and that's what Ollie was saying there. The first half though, let's have a quick chat about that. I mean, quite an equal half. I mean, Lucas Moura, that deserved to be a goal. It was just pure technique. Ball comes into him in the box high, knees it up and then smashes it with his right foot just wide. It would have been absolutely probably goal of the week. Fantastic hit. But other than that, I'd say Dortmund have probably just about shaded it. Both got a lot of injuries. So neither excuses for either team there. It's just a straight go against head-to-head. And I would think that if Dortmund... You'd fancy Dortmund to have even more of the ball in the return leg. It's not looking good for Spurs, even though it's 0-0. Dortmund are probably quite happy, be the happier team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and to me, I think they've played the better football as well. They've been much more adventurous. And I'll say it again, the pace of the two lads down the flanks is absolutely frightening. So it was really surprising that Spurs have gone with three centre backs, and I think they're playing a centre back in midfield as well. So they've gone with four centre backs, but they're only playing three at the back. So Sancho and Pulisic have got some acres of space down there to exploit. Which, obviously when the left-sided centre back or the right-sided centre back pull out to them, the space is there then in the middle for the runners from midfield. So I think Spurs they got to be wary. They got to be wary in the second half because I think Dortmund have shown that they come to Wembley to play. They're not going to come there and play for a 0-0, which I think is absolutely brilliant. It makes for a much more exciting game. If they get the away goal, I think you fancy them in the second leg as well.
Happy birthday, brother, says Haha Banter. So yeah, Marcus's birthday. So we've said it once before. Happy birthday to him. And thanks to the tree, we stayed in the competition. Oh God, shut up about Fellaini. He's gone. He's bloody gone. Shut up about it. I said this earlier. There was people saying we miss Fellaini. Do you not get that Solskjaer would rather put himself on up front than use Fellaini? He didn't want him at the club. So everyone who said, oh, we missed the Fellaini option last night, get your head back into what Manchester United's all about. We were never about hoofball. For 6 years, we had this weird obsession with somebody who never should have been at the club. Ollie will never use a player like that. So delete it from history. Delete it from your mentality. This we miss Fellaini or Fellaini got us in there, whatever. He's gone. He's never coming back. And I, for one, am happy about that. It's cheaper to go to Dortmund and watch a game from England than it is to watch a Premier League game, says Lunacy. A fantastic atmosphere. It's on my bucket list to go to Dortmund and watch a game of football there. They've got that. And they've got the biggest cop in Europe because they have safe standing, don't they? If you look, a lot of people saying Fellaini was good. If you like him so much, he's in China. He'll want to come home in about a year. Sign him up. Happy birthdays are flying in. There we go.
I'm seeing it. I'm trying to reply to every single one, so
yeah, you won't be able
forgive
to
me if I miss a few people. But I must say, Mark, I mean, last night, people are saying there we missed Fellaini. Do you think if he was still at the club, would you have chucked him on last night instead of Lukaku?
Nah, it wasn't that sort of game. It wasn't that sort of game to be hitting long balls. It just, I don't want us to do that. I always said when we had Fellaini, I know it was effective sometimes, but I don't want us to do it. I'd rather lose a game than watch 20 minutes of hoofball. I don't want to be that team. Man City don't do it. Liverpool don't do it. Spurs don't do it. I don't want to be a hoofball team. I'd rather, as we are, a work in progress, because we are still a work in progress. I'd rather we worked on how we do it the right way than do that. I never liked it, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say I would have used it last night. I don't want to use that sort of brand of football. I know you liked it.
Do you know what? I'm just changing the subject. There's so many birthday wishes. Again, thank you everyone. It's much appreciated, and just keep continuing to support the channel. United Stand, and that's football, and Mark's channel.
It's a shame, actually. It's a shame it's not tomorrow night we're doing this match, because those happy birthday messages would just be absolutely swamped by "We love you, Mark. We love you, Mark. We love you, Mark. Can I have your babies, Mark?" So you're lucky. It's not Valentine's Day. I tell you,
wish, mate. One day I'll be as popular as you. You watch.
One day.
You watch.
One day.
You never know. You never know. I never expected the name to get this big anyway. So it's fantastic, and I appreciate every single one that's to do with the channel and the community. Community's fantastic. It's what everyone has built and everyone's contributed to. It's amazing, and long may it continue.
When he's lying in bed tonight, shoving that birthday flake up his bum, he'll have a nice smile about all these happy birthday comments. Anyway,
just to myself quietly in the corner.
He'll probably have some photoshops of these images. Yeah. Leeds are winning apparently, says Jaggy Babs. Let's have a quick look at that actually, because there's so many birthday messages in there. We're not getting any decent things to interact with, so that's fine. We'll just have a quick look at
there's a couple. We love you, Mark. Not many, but there's a couple.
That'll all be tomorrow. Anyway, let's have a look at football. Valentine's Day is always a difficult day for me.
Tomorrow?
What?
You doing anything tomorrow since it's Valentine's Day?
Tell you what, I'm going to say something very, very serious now, if people don't mind me saying something very serious. I absolutely hate Valentine's Day. I really do hate Valentine's Day because I've got an older brother that I never met who died of cot death on Valentine's Day when he was about 8 months old. So I just get a card for the wife and we'll have a meal, but I've never been into presents and stuff because obviously my mum's still about and it's a difficult day for her, and I don't celebrate it. I never have done, but I know for everybody else it's a nice thing. But people ask me a question, I'll give an honest answer. But and we've got a great community here. But So, but what about you? I suppose it's quite a depressing day for you because not even your wife buys you a card, does she?
No, she don't. I'm all alone. My kids get me one. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I'm not a big lover of it. A card and a rose and that'll be it. I don't.
Bought for yourself.
Usually I find
two Marcus.
Two me from
too
me.
Sexy from Marcus. I bet you post it as well, don't you? You probably walk around the corner to post it to yourself.
Yeah, I do that at Christmas. Like I always, every Christmas, I always buy myself a present, and it's like two Marcus from Marcus. Always the one thing that I majorly want that I don't want anyone else to get.
Buys himself Christmas presents. There you go. To be fair, I do as well. It's so that when I get all the crap stuff, at least I've got something I want.
This is it. I think it's a good backup plan, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a good backup plan. So, but yeah, we usually just cards, and we usually order in because a lot of the places where I am, they'll charge the earth for it.
Yeah.
To go out. So probably end up getting a Chinese or something tomorrow, or curry or something Indian. And,
it's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, like I say, I don't think I've ever been out on Valentine's Day for anything because I just don't want to do anything over the top, for the reasons I've said. But having said that, I do know because from jobs I've worked in the past, I sort of interacted with sort of the restaurant industry, and they might even up their prices by 400%. It's ridiculous just for that one night. They love it, and it's a bit cliche, isn't it? But so is Christmas, and if you enjoy it, that's great. Brentford are drawing with Villa 0-0. Ipswich are losing to Derby 1-0. Leeds are 2-0 up against Swansea. Portsmouth are 2-0 up against Norwich. That's a bit of a surprise. Sheffield United and Middlesbrough 0-0. Wigan and Stoke 0-0, and Reading are beating Blackburn Rovers 1-0. And Manchester United women apparently are playing Leicester City women, but they haven't updated the score on that. I mean, that's just sexist, isn't it? They haven't put the score update for that. So I don't know. In fact, none of the women's games have got updates on. There we go. Can't give you that. Phil Mitchell's made a contribution. If Jesse and Tony are injured, play a diamond with Mata at CAM with Rashford and Sanchez up front if he's not calling up the kids. So that's not a bad idea, to be fair.
Oh dear. So, what games are on at the weekend, Mark? You doing any? I know obviously United are on Monday, but is there an FA Cup one over the weekend we could do if you're free?
I don't know. We'll have a look in a minute.
Yeah, obviously. What time are we Monday? Is it 7:45 Monday? I think. Let's have a look. Not sure what the fixtures are.
7:30. That's quite good. I quite like that. Earlier finish, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a weird kick-off. I can't remember. I tell you what, that takes me back. 7:30 kick-offs. That's like that's proper pre-Premier League Wednesday night. That is in the late 80s. 7:30 kick-off. Bloody hell! I like it because it means you get to bed a little bit earlier. But 7:45 seems to have died a death. But 7:30, God, blast from the past. So Sunday there is Blackburn Middlesbrough. I don't think there's any Premier League fixtures either this weekend.
No, there isn't. I'm just looking at what's on terrible. Saturday.
It's terrible.
Crap. Yeah.
Man City, Newport County.
The highlight Saturday, mate. 3 o'clock is Preston against Forest. If you fancy it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind doing it.
Why are Forest not playing tonight anyway? If it's Championship, where are they?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I don't even know how they're doing. I actually was meaning to keep a conscious eye on Forest since Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane have took over. I know they won the first game, but I don't know what the last couple of results have been.
I see Scholesy won his first game as well, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, 4-1. First game, first win. So, fair play to him. Congrats to Scholesy. First managerial job, first game, 4 goals.
Well, I'm just watching the Ajax goal here. It was disallowed for offside. Fucking hell.
Apparently Forest played last night, mate.
All right.
Cheers, Jack. Thank you. And they drew 2-2 with the Baggies.
Why is that Ajax goal been disallowed? Because if he's disallowed it for the foul on the goalkeeper, the keeper's nowhere near the header. It must be just for offside. Jay Wood says, I think Forest drew to West Brom last night. There you go. There you go.
Oh, he's offside by the looks of it.
Thoughts on Sancho tonight, says Noah. I think this is another thing, isn't it? A lot of people yesterday, Pogba is the French Mark Noble. One thing, right? Stop nicking my jokes. This is happening all the time. If you're going to nick my jokes, I don't mind it. I think, nurturing new talent's a great thing. But don't use my line. Like, if you want to take the piss out of Pogba, you can't call him a French Mark Noble, right? Because Mark Noble's not French and Pogba is French. So, that doesn't really work that well. But also, I always use Mark Noble. So actually, I've even messed that up myself. This is why I need a script. So, Jorginho at Chelsea, I call him the Italian Mark Noble. So you can call Pogba the French Mark Noble. But my point is, I've already done it. I've done it for Jorginho. So think of your own player. Call him the French Jordan Henderson or something like that. But don't call him the French Mark Noble because that's my thing. I've already used it for Jorginho. You can't copy it. So everyone keeps saying the B-Tech this, the B-Tech that. That's my thing. Flex said to me the other day, don't stop using the B-Tech thing because I actually have got a B-Tech qualification. And I said, well, but it's my thing anyway. That's my line. I've always said they're the B-Tech this, they're the B-Tech that. So it's mine. Stop doing it. But seriously though, I mean, to go back to Sanchez because the second half's just kicked off. Yeah. Like Pogba was getting a lot of stick last night. Oh, let's ignore the fact he's been brilliant for 11 games. He had a bad game against PSG. Is a flop again. And again, it's that instant sensationalist reaction to one result that just makes me laugh. And Pogba didn't play well last night, but it's this FIFA generation thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, he's had a bad game, he must be crap again. This is not FIFA, this is real life. Trust me. I've been on this planet for nearly 40 years and any good footballer has bad games every now and again. No footballer plays 9 out of 10 every single game throughout their career. It doesn't happen. So when people are saying, what about Jadon Sancho? I think he's been good without being superb. Sonaldo's good. Sonaldo is good. It's 1-0. It's 1-0 to Spurs.
Jeez.
Sonaldo has scored. It's a lovely cross in, and it must be from Vertonghen. He's got so much space, and he just volleys it in with a pass home. And, it's Sonaldo 1, it's Sancho 0, and Spurs doing what they need to do. I mean, this is the thing about Pochettino and Spurs at the moment. They keep doing what they need to do in games. And absolutely fantastic. It's a mistake by their right back for Dortmund, who's been really good. Eriksen nicks it back. Mora... Oh, it's just a well-worked goal. Lovely goal. The cross from Vertonghen is absolutely bang on. Absolutely bang on. Superb by Spurs there. It's straight off the training ground. It's perfect.
Absolutely fantastic. He takes that with the inside of his right boot. It's like a placement shot. to the goalkeeper's right hand side, straight in the top corner, and the goalie's rooted to the spot. I don't think he expected that whatsoever, but great pressure by Vertonghen, I think it is, on that left hand side. The ball comes in, and Son, yeah, I mean, the goalkeeper just cannot do nothing. What a superb goal.
Well, that's
Well
that's a
placed.
magnificent goal, says Crossing the Channel. And
Look
why
at
don't
that.
you react to Man City, Newport County, says Simpart Hammerson. I mean, I tell you what would you rather do on a Saturday afternoon? Watch Man City annihilate some Welsh part-timers. Are Newport County from Wales? I've probably got that wrong.
Yeah, yeah, they are. Yeah.
Or go down the pub and have a few pints. I think I'll be down the pub.
I was just going to say, yeah, go down the pub, mate.
I'm more than happy to do watch-alongs, but to be honest with you, I don't know why they've put United Chelsea on a Monday, because it's the tie of the round, and they put it on the Monday.
Yeah, you would have thought that. I thought it was a Sunday at 4 o'clock, to be
Yeah.
honest, or like 5:30. Because I was looking for it during the week and I couldn't find it. I thought,
Yeah.
where the hell is it? But yeah, Monday. Strange.
Tie of the round, put it on a Monday night. Really weird, but the rest of the ties are rubbish.
Yeah.
Well, 1-0
you pretty
Spurs,
much
score
picked the
updated. And, well, you know, as I say, Spurs just keep finding a way. And to be honest, yeah, the right back for Dortmund made a little bit of a mistake. Ericsson nicked it in, knocked it to Mora, lays it into the path for Vertonghen. And you can see why they like to put Vertonghen at left back, because that cross was absolutely superb. The Dortmund centre-back's trying his best to get there, but it's perfect placement. And to be honest, Son, fair play for him for passing it in. If that had been me in my prime, I'd have leathered I'd have smacked it to death. I'd have smashed it on the full volley. He volleyed it, but and I probably would have whacked it out of Wembley, to be fair, and missed. But he's a good player, that Sonaldo. I really like him, Marcus.
I'll tell you what, he's coming up something so far. When Spurs need a goal scorer, you can't fault him, to be honest. He's doing everything right at the minute. He's getting the results for Spurs. Him and Ericsson just seem to have come to the fray now that Dele Alli and Harry Kane's not about. But yeah, what a player he is. He's got such a good work ethic as well. Reminds me a lot of Parky when we used to have him. The work rate, always hunting down, always chasing.
See, I'm going to jump in there, and I know you don't mean this, but I was talking to somebody about this at the weekend, and I think that the Park comparison is like comparing Jordan Henderson to Jesse Lingard, just because they're English. I don't see any comparable attributes at all. I think that people just compare them because they're both South Korean, aren't they? I don't think there's any comparison at all. But you're not the first person to say that. A lot of people do it, but I don't think there's any comparison at all. I just think it's because they're South Korean and people start to think, what's another good South Korean? It's like it's like the next Ronaldo and the next Messi, isn't it? It's built into us to go, oh, they remind me of that because they're from the same country. But I think he does remind me of Ronaldo. I think the way he runs around, his body shape, his strength, his speed. He's not as good as Ronaldo, of course, but I think if somebody was asking me who he reminds me of, closest player, I probably would say Ronaldo, yeah. I think he's very, very similar in a sort of B-Tech version.
I think Son and Park, for me, they're very similar players, I think. I mean, it's the work ethic. Sir Alex trusted Park to play in the big games as well, to be that nuisance in the midfield. Not only could he create goals, he scored a few as well, and he wasn't afraid to get his foot in either. And I think Son, he reminds me so much of that.
So Marcus thinks that Son's like Ji-sung Park, and I think he's more like Ronaldo. It's over to you, people. Who does Son remind you of? We'll get some of those comments. I like that sort of thing. Thanks for the contribution, Steve Jones. And Franklin Clinton 98 says Monday because Chelsea plays Thursday in Sweden. There we go. He's absolutely nailed it. We're thick. We didn't think of that. We're not thick actually. We just don't. We hate the Emmerdale Cup. Yeah. In fact, I don't know when they're going to put it up on 100% Chelsea, but they did a preview with me, and Louis actually asked me my thoughts on the Emmerdale Cup, because obviously we won it. And I said, whenever I take the piss out of the Emmerdale Cup, Arsenal fans go, "Oh, but you won it. You won it." And we did win it, Marcus. We remember that night. It was a very memorable night. It was one of the best shows we ever did on the United Stand. But I said to Louis, and I'll say it to everyone else, I hated being in it. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. The only good thing about it was winning it, so we didn't have to be in it the next year. I hate the Europa League, and if we're in it next year, I'll take the piss out of it as much as I always have. It's a horrible trophy to be in. If you're in it though, the only thing you can do is try and win it. But if you try and win it, you've got to say goodbye to your league form, because you can't do both.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we saw how it affected us when we won it in what's his face?
Oh, that's a foul.
In charge.
That's a bad foul on Son, and it's a yellow card right on the edge of the box. And you know what? I tell you what, just to give you a little bit of info on the game, this first 10 minutes of this half, Spurs have gone up about 2 gears, and Dortmund aren't dealing with it. You know, I thought Dortmund were a decent team in the first half. They've looked very poor. Some sent Delaney back to Ireland there. He's not Irish really, he's Danish, but he's got an Irish name, so he has. But it's a yellow card to Delaney, and Ericsson from here could make it 2. Red Baron says Rooney worked hard as well. Does he remind you of Park? Son is like Kagawa, says Darren Kavanagh. I mean, now you're just being like, because he's Asian, aren't you? I mean, let's be honest. This free kick's not been taken yet. Crossing the channel, we've read you before.
I think Ericsson's got to get on this free kick for me, I think.
Valan says Son is better than Martial. Well, I think 100%. I think Son, for me, is the only rival to Salah as the player of the year. And maybe Van Dijk, but I don't want to give it to a defender. Whoever does. So I think Son and Salah are the 2 consistent best players. Here's Ericsson with the free kick into the wall. Not very good. It was a good chance that. Yeah. I'd expected him to do better.
Seen a couple of people saying Son's like Jackie Chan and Son's like Honda. Not many people have said that he's like Ronaldo, though, Bob.
So that's what football's all about, opinion, isn't
it? Son reminds me of international karate. But he is a great player, great asset to Spurs. I think, since he was a big miss to him in January. Thankfully for Spurs, they got the team got knocked out pretty early, and he came back pretty quick. So I think they were only without him for a couple of games, weren't they? A few games.
Yeah, they got knocked out quick. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Son's more important to Spurs than Dele Alli, who's injured. And I'd argue that, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, but I think Son's probably more important for them than Kane. Ikachi Patrick Osigi says he reminds him of Bale.
I think Son's more important than Dele Alli. I wouldn't say he's more important than Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane, there's no replacement for him in the Spurs team at all. I think to play someone behind Harry Kane, Son is much more important. Even though Dele Alli gets the nod, doesn't he, from Pochettino, which is surprising. Yeah, it's like Jay Hart says, Son is not world class, but he is dependable, unlike Sanchez. Totally. Absolutely, totally. Spurs, obviously 1-0 up. Just controlling the game now, but Dortmund, they seem to have died off a bit in the second half. They've not really come out fighting. But I don't think they expected Spurs to come out and play so quickly.
Yeah, that's what it is. You've hit the nail on the head there. Spurs have just come out and gone up a couple of gears, and I think Dortmund thought they were going to continue just to dictate the pace, and it's not been like that.
Who scored, says Brandon? So it was Son who scored the goal. I've been disappointed tonight. Goetze not been in the game at all. but he is such a small player.
I'll tell him about that. He'll be gutted.
Yeah.
Marcus is not impressed with you, Mario.
No,
on his birthday as well. Oh, how can Marcus? I'm trying to do German, and I actually probably sounded more like Son.
That sounded like Japanese then.
Yeah, I'm terrible at accents. I'll try and do one and do another. There's only one thing I can say that I know can make me get into a German thing, but if I say it, I'll never be allowed on YouTube again. Son is the Korean Beppe, says Josh Cornell. Well, but he clearly isn't. He's very good. And Nolanson1 says, Nolan is fine. I see you struggle with the full thing each time I super chat. I really hope United aim for Sancho this summer. He looks future top class. Well, I've done a video on Jadon Sancho on the United Stand if you want to watch it after this. About how we can do it, why we should do it, why he'd want to do it, why Dortmund would sell to us, why we can do the deal. But ultimately, it all comes down to the appetite of Manchester United's board as to whether they want to spend the money to get him, because we can get him. He will come. And United, apparently, I've heard from a couple of sources, are monitoring the situation. But that doesn't really mean a lot, because Barcelona will be monitoring it. Man City will be monitoring it. I tell you who's having a good second half, the Tongan. Yeah. He's going for glory here. He's an idiot. That was a rush of blood to the head. He intercepts, he skips past 3 players, he can put Son in 1-on-1, and he thinks he's down the local park in Belgium with jumpers for goalposts, and he's gone for glory. And he should be thinking, I play for Spurs, it's a Champions League knockout game, play a striker 1-on-1 and win the game. Selfish for Tongan. If you're down the park, it's fine. Not here. Would you take the Tongan, says Zane 411? He's a bit old, isn't he?
He could have laid the ball off there, Son, on the left-hand side. Even more, Lucas was there on the overlap on the left-hand side as well. 2 players queuing up for it in space. Wrong decision.
Adrian Gorchio says that Ronaldo is the Portuguese Son. Spurs are rocking here at the moment. They're absolutely... They got Dortmund's number. And you tell you what, again, you've got to say that if this continues this way and Spurs get a result... You've just got to be impressed with Pochettino again. First half, it was very equal. I think Dortmund shaded it. This half, there's only one team in it, which shows you that tactically they've done something at half time.
Yeah. I think one of the main things is Vertonghen is pushing so far up on that left-hand side. It's causing a problem now for Sancho.
Yeah, well, Heel Pope says that... Where's Vertonghen playing? He's playing as a left wing back, and again, Marcus on his birthday must be getting lucky because he's hit the tactical nail on the head. I think first off, the wing backs were playing too deep. Oh, Ericsson was in again then.
This is why I'm the assistant manager, mate. All right.
Yeah, you're right. Pochettino has clearly told his wing backs to push on like wingers, and that's forcing Pulisic and Sancho back.
I mean, they've not been involved the second half at all. Dortmund, they just can't get the ball.
I'll tell you what, Ericsson there, he's in one-on-one, but wide. He tries to clip it into Son's path to make it 2, and it's a good defensive header, and now there's a corner. Oh, flicked corner by Alderweireld, and straight into the keeper's arms. Son is Son, no need to compare class, says AJ is back. Son is just a South Korean Goldbridge, let's be honest. That's what I'm...
You do rate yourself, don't you?
That's where the familiarity is. When I was in my prime and I didn't have a bad back. I've lost about... people lose a yard of pace when they're in the 30s. I think I've lost about 10 yards of pace with my back. Mike Phelan's tight short. Son reminds me of Mark Viduka, but more lightweight and more pace and more skill. So he doesn't remind you of him at all then, does he? Mike Phelan's tight short. Son reminds me of Mark Viduka with more pace, more skill, and half his size. Yeah, okay. I'll tell you what. Son reminds me of Jordan Henderson with ability, speed, and technique.
The complete opposites.
Yeah. Sancho has gone missing, Leo Lyon. Oh!
Yeah, do you know,
Pulisic!
Very quiet.
Oh, what a tackle by Davinson Sanchez. Recovery. He was just about to pull the trigger in the box, and Davinson Sanchez made it. Z says United should seriously consider Pochettino. Well, I think he's got to be part of the conversation. He's still got to be part of the conversation.
So good recovery by Sanchez as well there. Oh man. I mean, Pulisic was in. Shane, he miscontrolled. Well, didn't really miscontrol the ball. He lost sight of the ball, but Sanchez did well tracking back. The Spurs are again since the goal, they've not really tried to capitalise on the defensive frailties that Dortmund showed. They've not really gone gung ho and looked to get the second, but they're in the driving seat at the minute.
Oh, they've been fantastic this half.
No, really good. Really up their game.
They're knocking on the door for the second goal as well.
Again, yeah. I mean, Vertonghen is pushing so far up that left-hand side. He's almost playing like an out-and-out left winger.
I think Dortmund will be making subs soon because it's slipping away from them a little bit.
But yeah, Dortmund have got to show something.
Benzema scored for Real Madrid, so the VAR goal ruled out for Ajax, and now Real Madrid have got that away goal. Good run by Vinicius Junior, says George Kyle, who's meant to be the next Pele. Somebody's always the next something, aren't they?
Yeah. I think things like that get touted around way too often. But Spurs again. I mean, Dortmund, they're not pressing the ball. They're quite content to let Spurs have time on the ball, pick their passes. Seems like that goal has sort of like knocked the shit out of them for.
Well, they've done nothing. Dortmund have done
No.
nothing in this second half. They've been they looked impressive in the first half, and I think they shaded the first half. But this second half, oof.
They've really got to get. I mean, everything that Dortmund did well in the first half was Sancho and Pulisic, and it's just been
Good defending there. Another good cross coming in. I think that was Aurier this time from the right hand side, and a sliding tackle by Topak stops it being a tap in for Lucas Moura. But they're getting in down both sides now. Why doesn't Ollie play three at the back, says Marky? Well, who are you going to play at the back? You know, we don't even know if Bailly and Lindelof are his first choice, and who's going to be the third centre-back? Jones, you know. I think 4-4-2 suits United until they sort out some top-quality centre-backs. Red Baron, you say Poch is part of the conversation, but our board are typical cost-cutting financiers. Yeah, I agree with you, Red Baron. I think that Pochettino will be not coming to United no matter what, because they've got to pay to get him, whereas Ollie will just do it for free, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Spurs again.
Sally, I've fixed it for you. It should work now.
Hack Game says you fancy marrying him. Yeah. I think Jadon Sancho is a bit of a disappointment this second half. Same as Pulisic. First half they were fantastic. Showed what they were all about. Pace, power, direct, bit of trickery.
I think this is very similar to United.
Like last night's game, I think.
You know, Martial and Rashford and Pogba, they're good players, but they couldn't get in the game. And this second half, Dortmund's good players can't get in the game because tactically they've been outfought by Pochettino.
Ooh.
Oh, look, it's Borislav Bate versus Arsenal tomorrow night at 5. I love it.
Where are they from?
Fucking Belarus. I just love it. It just makes me laugh. How can you banter someone for losing in the Champions League when you're playing at 5:30 on a Thursday in Belarus against some farmers? I mean, come on.
Max Claydon says, "Can you ask Mark what he uses for his football results?"
I've got this bloke. I pay him 50p a week, and basically he knocks on my door every time there's a goal.
There we go. All right.
I tend to just use BBC. I've always used BBC. I don't know whether they're the quickest or not, but here we go. Yeah. Shut up, you'll be in the Europa next season. But we're not in the Europa now. You are. Yeah. You know, Mad Marcus might be a millionaire next season. He's not one now. No. There is an argument has never been won on, but next year you'll be this, because you don't know what's going to happen next year. All you can deal with is the present, and you are in the Emmerdale Cup and we're not. So come back next year and maybe you'll be able to banter me, but you can't banter me now. Dream Summer, Sancho, Kante and Koulibaly says none as one. I think I can safely say it would be a dream.
Do you think we got a chance for Kante in the summer?
Nah. I think if he was going to go anywhere, he'd go to PSG because they want a CDM because they were looking at Idrissa Gueye. So, and he's played for Leicester already, hasn't he? Oh, Dortmund, nearly.
Oh, nearly, yeah.
Oh, said Jamie's right. Davinson Sanchez is the Colombian Davinson Sanchez. Well, they've had a shot there in the 68th minute. Straight at the keeper. No troubles. Reed Button says, yeah, but you're out the Champions League and we're not. You were never in it, mate. So, newsflash, we might be going out the Champions League. You were never in it. So, and I'll tell you what, I want you to stay in the Emmerdale Cup for as long as fucking possible, because the longer you're in that, the more your league form is going to suffer. I want Chelsea and Arsenal to go deep, deep into the Emmerdale Cup. I want you to go all the way to the Woolpack and have a good few pints. I want you all the way there and then lose right in the final, because you won't be finishing the top four. Not a chance. That's the beauty of the Emmerdale Cup. It knackers up your league form. So you stay in there. I'm happy to play the theme tune.
Archie says, when Arsenal go above you in 1 week's time, we will banter you. I don't think Arsenal will go above us in a week's time.
I think they're on about when we play Liverpool, and they probably...
right.
Yeah. They've got... I can't remember who they've got. Southampton at home.
Cheers, Vikram.
Tell me something.
I think Chelsea's transfer policy depend on whether they keep Sarri in it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reading a couple of paper reports this morning. Apparently, Zidane's being lined up in the summer if they decide to get rid of.
I think I can see Zidane at Chelsea. I was saying that yesterday when I was talking to the Chelsea lads. I said I think Zidane reminds me of the sort of manager that you would go and get, and he'd probably quite like it because it's London.
Well, do you know what? There's not many more managers, surely, that they can get.
No.
I mean, they change them, every 18 months, 2 years? So, I suppose it's only really the ones that are out of work at the Zidane and the Blancs. I mean, Jardim's gone back to Monaco, hasn't he? So, it's probably only those two that they could probably get now. I think no other manager would probably want the job because they know they're going to be in it for at least a season, and that could be it.
I'll tell you what, I do. We spoke about this a couple of times. I do think football is becoming dangerously flippant, and I don't know what's to blame. I don't know whether it's like society in general. You've got instant information, so your opinions are instantly changing all the time. I don't know, but I mean, I can even see people in the live comments saying we don't want Sancho, he's shit. Well, in the first half, he was brilliant. So half an hour, and he's been very quiet, and then he's suddenly shit. I think it's really dangerous what the expectations of some football fans have nowadays. You lose to PSG, you're shit. You beat Huddersfield 4-0, you're brilliant. You lose to Man City 6-0, you're shit. You have a bad half an hour, you're shit. You know, it's just, I don't think people grab the concept of human football players. Is that there is no human football player that plays well every minute of every game. It just doesn't happen.
No, I think people are so quick to jump on mistakes to prove their point that I think
come
that's
on,
just
Mora.
the way it is now.
Nah, too bloody greedy. Could have put Son in there one-on-one.
Could have done. But yeah, people they try so hard to not be wrong, and as soon as they can prove themselves right, they will do it at any expense, which is a shame, really, because I mean, time's not on a manager's side either. I mean, they're expected, with the reputations they've got, they're expected to go in there and win everything instantly.
Somebody's asked me, can you please play? No. Can you please have a quick look at the I'll get there in a minute. Let me get there and then I can tell you what I'm going to do. So they want to know the Europa League, who's going to win the Europa League. So I'm just going to tell you what some of the teams are in it. Well, Arsenal are in it. They think they're going to win it. So you got Arsenal, Bayer Leverkusen. This is not all the teams. These are the teams that I think could win it. You got Arsenal. I don't think Leverkusen can win it. Galatasaray, Benfica, don't think they can. Lazio, Sevilla, I doubt it. Real Betis, doubt it. Inter Milan could be decent. Celtic are in it. Chelsea, obviously. Napoli are good. If you're Arsenal or Chelsea fan and you think you're going to win the Europa League, I would say Napoli, Inter Milan are probably the two I'd be most worried about. The Spanish ones, Sevilla, Valencia, Villarreal, they're not that great. I mean, Villarreal are actually in the relegation zone of La Liga. So the thing is, that's the dangerous thing, isn't it? If you're a Chelsea or Arsenal fan, is that you look at it and think we might be able to win it. Well, you can't both win it. Only one of you can win it. And to do it, you're going to have to sacrifice top four because you haven't got the squads to play Thursday, Sunday for the next 3 months. You just haven't got it. So, interesting. I hope they both try and win it because United will benefit. Because if actually, you know what? Arsenal and Chelsea fans are bantering us for losing to PSG. If I was an Arsenal or Chelsea fan, I would have wanted United to knock PSG out because I would want United to stay in that tournament. Because if we're out of it and we're out the FA Cup next Monday, we're going to be playing a game every week, one game a week, and we'll be fresh and focused on one tournament. So they've not thought that through again, have they? Like most things, and Ericsson corner.
Did you read that story about Icardi today?
Yeah. Not playing, is he?
What do you think of that? I mean, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about him maybe coming to United.
I would bring him to United. And I know we've got Rashford, but I'd bring him to United. You know, Rashford can play so many different positions, and I think that if you had Icardi and Rashford, you could play two up front, you could alternate, you can keep them fresh. I'd love to.
Well, I mean, seeing as Lukaku wants to go to Italy.
Yeah, swap.
Maybe could be a deal there.
Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, we're getting closer to 60,000 subscribers. We do non-United stuff on here, watch-alongs, a bit of FIFA, all sorts. So get involved. Spurs have got a corner here, and they've been well in control. I think they would actually like to be two. That's a terrible shot by Mora. I think it wouldn't be a disservice if they actually were a 2-0 up in front of this. A lot of people saying, did Lineker respond? I doubt it.
Aaron Moulton says, what happened to Icardi? So, do you want to explain it, Mark?
He's been stripped of the captaincy, and he's not part of the team for the Europa League, which, who cares about that? But...
Bit of a strange decision. I think didn't it come down to his wife does a lot of media talk, didn't she? And didn't it come down to something like his wife mentioned about the contract talks that was going on, and there was she mentioned something about the money that they offered wasn't right or something, and yeah, they stripped him of it and dropped him out of the team and everything. So maybe could be a deal in the summer. It would certainly solve the problem for a backup striker or rotation with Rashford. At least we'll have a number 9 that comes in and is willing to fight and tackle and not just stand there like a donkey. The Spurs playing across the back at the minute, just keeping it tight. I don't think Dortmund have had any opportunities in the second half, Mark. Can't remember them doing anything.
No, they've not. The Dortmund have been really disappointing this second half.
Yeah. Apparently it's 6-0 to United's women.
Ajax have scored as well, 1-1. Barca fan, I haven't watched that. Is that new? I'll watch out for your live comments. He says, have you watched The Worst of Arsenal Fan TV by Wilney? No, I haven't. I'd like to watch it if it's quite irrelevant, if it's a recent thing. I obviously was on the kickoff at the weekend, and it was one of the first things I did ask them. I said, "Is the Loz and True Geordie the AFTV thing? Is it all a bit of a pantomime?" I don't think it is. I think from their side it probably was, but I don't think it's reciprocal. I think Robbie and co are taking it quite seriously, so that might run a little bit. Do you have Instagram, Marcus, says Epic Challenge Bros? I bet you don't know what it is.
I do know what it is, but I don't have it. Okay. No, the only
you put pictures of yourself
social media thing. The only social media thing I have is the Twitter. That's it. No. I'm not
Lorente's coming on.
Things. What was that?
It's Lorente's coming on.
Oh yeah, I'm just seeing it now. Yeah.
Kobe J says, Goldbridge, please score for Dortmund. Teleport yourself on the pitch. I don't know what's gone on with him in this half, to be honest. Very disappointment.
Yeah, it's near enough the same sort of second half as what we had at Old Trafford last night. Like, both teams I thought were fairly even in the first half, and then second half, Spurs have just absolutely gone gung-ho at Dortmund.
Mike, well, they've had 8 shots to Dortmund's 1. It tells you everything. Mike Feelings Tight Short says, I'd trade a Cardi for Lukaku in the summer, although I'm not sure if Big Rom is worth that much these days. No, I think off the top of my head, you'd probably have to give them Lukaku and 50 million.
I think no matter what,
if Inter Milan if they're stripping him of a captaincy and he's not signing a new contract, then they can't ask for top dollar either.
No. So yeah, I think I'd probably say Lukaku in 60 would probably get him.
Here's a good quote, Mark. He's got the exact quote. I can't do anything about Alexis Sanchez, says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's got to find himself. Which to me suggests that there's an issue.
Yeah, that to me says that's the end of him, to be honest. Because it's when you look into what he said there, how much time can Ollie really afford to give him to find himself?
Oh, Son's in.
A year.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Sanchez as well is that people enjoyed it because they disliked Mourinho. But when Mourinho was sacked, he came in. He did that Instagram video, didn't he, of him in his car with the music, sort of like really, really happy. Yeah. And everyone's like, we're going to see the real Sanchez now. Well, to be fair to Mourinho, Mourinho loved Sanchez. He bloody bought him, didn't he? But he's still the same Sanchez he wasn't. I think everybody in that squad, if you look at Matic, everybody has improved since Mourinho's gone, apart from Sanchez. So you've got to. Ollie's right. He's got to look at himself. Why are you not performing?
Yeah, it's a strange one. It is a strange one, and why he's always got to be on that left-hand side as well. I agree with what you said this afternoon. There's obviously something in that contract. There's got to be because there's no other reason for it. So it's if he's not willing to budge or go out to a different position to try and help the team, then to me that's just a little bit selfish, considering you're on that much money as well. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
it's two! And Dortmund will
oh,
be furious because I think there might have been a foul in the build-up play, but it's a cross from the right this time. Very similar goal. And Vertonghen smashes it in for 2. And Spurs are 2-0 up. And Arsenal are not going to get the double of PSG beating us. And Tottenham losing to Dortmund. It's 2-0. And Flip Flop Fan with a well-timed live super chat says, amazing how Pochettino keeps pulling out results. It is amazing. It is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I thought that might have been a foul there on the Dortmund midfielder, but what a run again! We spoke about it a fair bit in the second half. That Vertonghen's almost playing as a left winger, and again, fantastic, great ball in from the right hand side, and again left foot right past the goalie. The pace of the ball just absolutely goalie can't do nothing about that. Just it's gone past him before he's had a chance to think, and Spurs 2-0 up.
Yeah. Well, fair play to Spurs, fair play to Pochettino, because whatever he said at half-time, it's absolutely worked. And they're in a strong position now, Spurs. I think the second leg is going to be very, very interesting, because you'd think you'd see a better Dortmund, but I think Spurs will be over the moon, because if they keep the clean sheet as well, that's the big thing.
Yeah. You think you wouldn't put it past Spurs going away now to Germany and getting a goal out there to secure the tie as well. But what a goal! I mean, both goals tonight have been absolute quality. They really have. Son's was a class act, placement in the top corner on the half volley, and Vertonghen's as well. I mean, how often do you see a defender scoring goals like that?
Yeah. And that just shows you what you were saying as well about how they've changed their mentality, because that's not from a free kick or a corner. He's that high up the pitch as a left wing back because that's what Pochettino's told him to do. They've pushed Pulisic and Sancho back. They've pushed Dortmund back. Probably gave them a little bit too much space in the first half. And fantastic from Spurs. And you know what? I think those United fans who want Pochettino, especially over the last 24 hours, will be like, well, this is why I want him. Look at his tactical change at half time. Look at Ollie's tactical change and the contrast. But I
you used to play right back, didn't you? Once upon a time.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, take notice of that because in a couple of months' time, that's how I want you to go. Right.
But in a couple of months' time, I'll be stood next to you with MG on my manager's jacket. I won't be on the pitch. Those days are gone. 10-minute cameos up front. That's me hanging around the box. I'll tell you what, Dortmund needs to be a bit careful here because it could be 3. They could kill the time off. I'd like to see Spurs go deep into this tournament. I really would. And the interesting thing about Spurs is, if they did manage to get through the Dortmund tie, they would have Kane and Ali back for the latter stages.
I think they would do, yeah. I think Kane is due back, was it end of the month? First week of March, I think it was. So, yeah, you'd have to say Spurs are in a fantastic position, providing they get through this one with a clean sheet.
3-0! This is going, it's gone. It's 3. It's 3-0 and it's gone. Absolutely gone. Absolutely gone.
And just as that, it's 7-0 to United's women as well, apparently.
Bloody hell.
But I think that's tie over now. Certainly didn't expect that tonight. Certainly not. But Eriksen, I mean, again, I think his ball delivery, it causes so much problems, from set pieces. Absolutely causes so much problems. The bloke is just deadly at set piece. He's come from a corner, in swinger, and Llorente just gets in front of his defender, gets his head on it, and it's past the keeper. And Dortmund will be, considering the first half they had and the players that they've got in there tonight, Well, at Spurs, I
They're
think
rolling
providing
through. That's it. They're through. Absolutely
I think
fantastic.
so. Yeah,
Well done, Spurs.
I think so. Providing they see out the 3 minutes, I think it's tie over for them.
I tell you what, though, the thing about Spurs is everybody keeps underestimating them and not giving them the credit. It's like, they've got no Kane, they've got no Ali. They'll be down in the battle for fourth now. How many points clear are they from us lot? Okay. Oh, they're going to struggle against Dortmund. And I think that in the first half, it was just, I mean, how... It's very similar now, from a Dortmund point of view, to United, isn't it? Like, it was quite equal at half-time. Second half, they've just been absolutely schooled.
Yeah.
Because United could have lost 3 or 4-0 last night as well.
Mm.
Obviously, the difference is Dortmund
I
are
think
the away
it's been a
team.
spitting image of our game. That Sancho, I think, was gone off now. Just now for Dortmund.
To be honest, there's a few people saying there'll be a lot of flip-flop United fans saying Pochettino in now, and maybe there will be. But to be honest with you, I still want Ollie to get the job. But I think if in May I want Pochettino to get the job because Ollie's done shit, then that's not being a flip-flop. I will make my mind up in May, and it will have no bearing on what United do anyway. But at the moment, I still quite like the idea of Ollie. But you can't argue with the fact that Pochettino is doing great things. And also, I think it's good for United that that's happening. We don't want the decision to be too easy. We want the board to have to think this through. So the interesting thing is that Ollie didn't do that well last night. Pochettino's done fantastically well tonight. If that's making the board think, good. We want them to make the right decision. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I just think Spurs have players that are grafters in their team. I think United have quite a few players in our team that are there by reputation, and they're there because of the wages, because they know they won't get the wages elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I think that obviously plays a considerable part as well. You look at what Ollie's got on the bench. I mean, I've just seen Lamella come on. It's not a fantastic bench, but again, our bench last night. You thought our bench was better than Paris Saint-Germain's bench in some aspects, and look how they did when they came on. I just think too many overrated players at our club looking for a last decent payday.
And also, let's be honest, this Spurs team has played together under Pochettino for a long time, and Ollie's only had this team for 2 months, so there's a lot to be said for that. Norwich have lost 3-1, Leeds have won 2-1, Derby drew 1-1 at Ipswich, Brentford beat Villa 1-0, Preston we did that, Sheffield United beat Middlesbrough 1-0, Wigan drew 0-0 with Stoke, and Reading are beating Blackburn 2-1 with about 4 minutes remaining. But Dortmund are coming forward here. Oh, I thought Lloris was clambering there to his top corner. And I tell you what, if Dortmund had scored that, it would have flipped the game on its the second leg on its head, really, because that away goal would have been brilliant. And he hits it really, really well. Lloris is diving, but it's just wide. And I was just about to say, the clean sheet for Spurs is almost like another goal as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important now for Spurs to concentrate. I mean, don't make silly mistakes like that. You've got to get a lot tighter than that. And but they got 2 minutes to see it out. So just over a minute and a half to go.
Man of the match for me, I'd go Vertonghen, Marcus. Assisting a goal from a left back.
I'd go for Son, mate, to be honest. I think Son has been absolutely phenomenal. His work rate, his goal as well. I think he's been brilliant. He never stops running, that lad, and a vital part of the team. So for me, Son.
Get in the live comments, give us your man of the match. Marcus has gone Son for the reasons just stated. I've gone Vertonghen because I think a goal and an assist in a game like this from a left wing back's great. Bad boy Emil says that sorry Mark, Spurs players are superior to United's 11. Well, you don't need to apologise. It's obvious, isn't it? They're way ahead of us in the league, and they've been devastating this second half. Absolutely devastating. Joe Tomlin says Pochettino should get man of the match. A few people saying Son. Where are all the Arsenal fans now, says Johnny Meston. I just like to thank Spurs for winning 3-0 because we've been being bantered by Arsenal fans today for some God-known reason, but they will be hurting tonight, so that just makes me happy. So well done to Spurs, yeah. I've got no idea who's going to win the Champions League Epic Challenge, Bros, but I think it's shaping up for a nice one.
Well, Spurs are a bit of the way they're playing tonight. If they can keep this form up in Europe, they'd be a good outside to get to the final. You know.
Yeah, I'd love to see them do well.
Yeah, I don't think you can underestimate them. I mean, they really are. They've got a few players out injured as well.
That's it. 3-0. Absolutely.
A performance like this.
Fantastic result for Spurs. To keep the clean sheet is massive, but to have a 3, I mean, they should be through now, Marcus. They should be through.
They should, yeah. You definitely fancy them now. 3 goals. So what's that? Dortmund have got to win by 4
and keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, 4 without reply. No, I don't think so. I think this is Spurs now. It's they're in the driving seat. They're quite comfortable. As long as they go out there and keep their concentration, I think that's it. I think you could probably say they're in the quarterfinals, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree with that. Well, thanks everyone for watching. We're going to let everybody get off. Enjoy the rest of your evening, Marcus. Happy birthday. You can go get your flake now and insert it.
Yeah,
and
thank you very much. And thanks for everyone in the comments for the birthday wishes. And I'll speak to you all soon.
And thanks everyone for watching. Please do subscribe if you're new. Really enjoyed it. We'll be back tomorrow on the United Stand with some more content for you. If you didn't see the earlier video I did at 7 o'clock on the United Stand, there is a couple of videos today. One on Jadon Sancho, which you may disagree or agree with. And then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has warned some of his top stars they could be dropped for the next game if they don't change their attitude. Go and watch it. It's on the United Stand. It's up now. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you tomorrow.